What up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Pam Bondi is dying, and that is totally not cool. I don't know anybody who would think that Pam Bondi, of all people, taking ill is cool. Because I don't. I'll tell you that right now. I don't know anybody that would see the life of Pam Bondi and her past actions and speak about her falling ill as if it's some sort of karmic justice. I can't think of one family member, one friend, even office friends and coworkers. I can't think of one person who would say that this is justified. If you don't know Pam Bondi, she's the woman who has basically been capping for the whole Epstein class in all of those past hearings that were out a couple of weeks ago. Can't imagine why anybody would be happy about her inevitable demise. But let's just play this video here about her falling ill, and let's just see how we feel about it.
Attorney General Pam Bondi is revealing she was diagnosed with thyroid cancer after leaving the Justice Department back in April. Bondi says she is undergoing treatment, including having surgery a few weeks ago. She says she is still recovering and doing well. Bondi is scheduled to testify Friday in the House Oversight Committee's Jeffrey Epstein probe.
Nothing like the person overseeing the Epstein investigation, who is also a part of the administration and deeply entrenched in the Epstein investigation. Anyway, this whole thing with Pam Bondi, it is crazy. I wish death on nobody. Not cool, as we've said tons of times in this video. What I do think is cool, though, is how conservatives always seem to get women and minorities to be the spokespeople for their messes, right? We have people like Candace Owens, who I talk about all the time, right? You have people like Pam Bondi, who is now out here for the entire Epstein class. I feel like there's something about having a minority that like eases people's mind, right? They're like, hey, we're clearly doing something evil, but as long as I see a black person here or a woman here, then taking that type of person's rights away actually isn't so bad, because one of them is actually for it. Here's a spoiler alert. None of us are actually for it. Most of us are not for it. The people that are for it are soulless ghouls who care more about money and personal status than they do about anyone, and I mean anyone on this planet Earth. They care more about themselves than they even care about white people. That's right. Candace Owens cares more about Candace Owens than she does even white people. And if you know how much she cares about white people, that is a lot. I think the same thing goes for Pam Bondi. And they know how to use these people, right? They know how to use these people quite often, right? This is kind of their bread and butter. And I say this because, these people, they either have come from their own independent platforms, right? People like Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro, right? All that type of stuff, Nick Fuentes, or they kind of have been handpicked, right, because of their past. I mean, this woman, I believe she was an attorney general, I believe in Ohio. I could have been wrong, but she used to be an attorney general, which is why they picked her. And they knew they could use her for as much corruption as possible. And the proof of this is that even though they got rid of Pam Bondi, they actually just reinstated her to a new position in the Trump administration. This time, she is going to be helping out with AI. Isn't that so fun? So this is one of my favorite clips that I've been watching from the last few days with Glenn Kirshner. He talks about it pretty well, slightly better than I do, I think. So we're going to watch this clip for a little bit and talk about it.
Former Attorney General Pam Bondi will be assuming a new advisory role within the Trump administration nearly 2 months after her ouster, according to new reports.
Beautiful. I will say, as much as people shit on Pam Bondi, I feel like there's a little bit of commonality between me and her in the job sense, because I've definitely been fired from a job and then asked to come back, and I had nowhere else to go, and I was like, all right, I'm just here. I feel like this is like the sequel in a movie they didn't need to make. Like, it's just a cash grab, right? Or it's just a tax write-off. There's no reason for it. No one wants it, right? They can't even the original cast isn't coming back, but we're doing this. It's one of those things. Yeah, terrible. But Pam's back. Great.
Axios was first to report on Tuesday, May 26, that Bondi will be joining the Presidential Council of Advisors on Science and Technology. I thought Pam Bondi was a lifelong lawyer, attorney general down in Florida,
Florida. Okay, so she wasn't attorney general in Ohio. She's attorney general in Florida. My bad. I'm sorry. I knew it was like more or less the East Coast, not really the West. Ohio is technically Midwest, but some people will tell you it's East Coast. Whatever.
prosecutor, U.S. attorney general, but she'll be joining the Science and Technology Board. Bondi will be joining the Presidential Council of Advisors on Science and Technology, a panel of tech executives and White House officials focused on policy related to artificial intelligence. And the panel also includes people like Mark Zuckerberg and Larry Ellison and others. Bondi apparently will be the go-between for the government and the executives on the panel. But wait, there's more. The outlet reports that she will additionally hold a newly established advisory role related to national infrastructure.
Yeah, so basically what's happening here is they're setting up Pam Bondi again to be the one holding the bag at the end of the heist. You know, that's really what they're doing here, and it makes total sense. After the whole Epstein thing, right, she literally was just getting like beat from wall to wall in that courtroom while they're talking to her about this Epstein shit. And I feel like she has so much on them from seeing the whole Epstein files and what she's like looked on, that number one, they can't really get rid of her, but they also have to keep incriminating her to keep her quiet. You know what I mean? Because it's like because that's always how it goes with any of this stuff, whether it's cartel stuff, whether it's mob stuff or politics. If somebody is doing something extremely corrupt or extremely wrong and you know about it, you know, it's cool to say, hey, I didn't see anything. But an even smarter idea is to get you basically wrapped up within the organization, you know, so that you don't want to disclose anything. You know, if you saw me do one crime, but you've participated in 10 other crimes, you're shutting up about that one crime. And I think that's basically what's happening with this whole tech illuminati that she's playing legal advisory for, because that's essentially what they're doing. They want her around. She's probably going to be the one to tell them about the laws that are in action that prevent them from doing certain things, while also telling them how they can get around said laws. You know what I mean? And then basically when all this goes to shit, when eventually the world has had enough, or hopefully when the world has had enough and the chickens start coming home to roost, not only will she, you know, have their back, but chances are she'll be dead. I think that's really why they're having her participate in this whole thing. It's less about, hey, we're going to have you go through another hearing like the Epstein files, and more like, hey, we know you're dying. We also don't want you to snitch. We also want you to feel useful within this organization so that you don't snitch. So be a part of this thing, and it's a win-win for us. You feel useful. You're still getting paid. You know, you're still part of the in crowd of this shit. You're not the redheaded stepchild of the Trump administration anymore. But also, you can't really tell anybody because you won't be here for that long. And even if you pass through this whole cancer ordeal, hey, we might be able to pull some strings to make it look like you didn't triumph through this whole cancer ordeal, if you know what I'm saying. Okay? So I think that's the main thing that they're kind of going through with this whole Pam Bondi situation. It's very fishy. It's very gross. If you look through the whole Big Beautiful Bill, one of the main things in the Big Beautiful Bill was that AI was to be completely federally unregulated for 10 years. That was one of the main things that they signed on for this big beautiful bill. So it doesn't surprise me that they're putting together this whole coalition of evil to take advantage of the common man in this country and common woman, thanks to Pam Bondi. But let me know what you guys think about this whole situation. I think the whole thing is very, very fishy, but one thing is for sure, even with all this evil that she is participating in and she is spearheading, we are not happy that she has fallen ill, and we hope that Pam Bondi has the quickest recovery known to man. All right, guys, that's been the video. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you later. Peace.